spent a lot of time with him in New York in the hospital, Alia and myself. And he kept telling us, why are you all wasting your time? You guys have no work. Go and get married. But yeah, of course, it would have been amazing if he was alive. But of course, he's blessing us from up there.
The current lot of actors away from sharing screen with someone who is their colleague.
I don't know what's happened nowadays. I think it's insecurity between them for some reason.
It's so strange now, wherever I go, like even when I work with directors, they just see Sanjay Dutt in me.
I had just come back from a drug rehab and सब बोलते थे charsi जा रहा है and all that stuff. So I had to break that.
One question which has been tiring me the most since the last 8 years is when you're coming on social media.
Thank you so much for talking to us and welcome to ETimes. It's such a pleasure meeting all of you. To begin with, absolutely loved the trailer of Shamshera.
Thank you.
You know, it just looks so good, larger than life, and especially you, Ranbir, I have to say there is that one scene, I don't know how many people have actually caught on to it, but when you actually look up, you have that long hair and you look exactly like what Mr. Dutt looked like in Khalnayak.
Really?
Wow.
No, I think that's the best compliment I've got for this film.
Right, there's just that one sequence.
Yeah. You know, it's so strange now, wherever I go, like even when I work with directors, they just see Sanjay Dutt in me. You know, and I take it as a big compliment. You know, post the biopic, every photo shoot I do, or if I'm acting in a film, and suddenly they'll call me on the monitor and says, "You've done this exactly like Sanjay Dutt." You know, so I get that a lot nowadays.
Right. Do you think it's perhaps unconscious, or you know, people are just seeing you as Mr. Dutt?
I think, of course, it has a lot to do with the fact that I did his biopic. And who wouldn't like to look like Mr. Sanjay Dutt? I think it's the best compliment any guy can get.
Absolutely. And when he looked back in Khalnayak, oh my God, I think he broke too many hearts at that time.
I wish I'd met you that time.
I really just have to add something here. We were shooting the last section of Shamshera, and so he had to be in a particular position with the axe on his shoulder, and the cameraman said, Ranbir, don't chin up too much because you're not catching a good light. So he came and just saw the monitor, and I'm telling you, Sanjay, I just looked at him, I said, you basically have to do a day-da-da-day. And he looked at me and said, okay, done. And he went back and gave the most phenomenal shot.
Oh, wala.
Your theme from Khalnayak, I just had to tell him that much. He had to do a day-da-da-day, and he went and literally just gave an outstanding shot. That is what happened.
In the clamp, not in
No, now. Recently, we have finished it.
But Ranbir, talk to us about, you know, playing Sanjay Dutt versus now, you know, being in a film literally opposite him, locking horns with him.
Playing Sanjay Dutt, I think, was way easier, though at that time when I was doing the film, it was very hard and challenging for me. But to star opposite him and to also hold your own is every actor's challenge, because this man is such a rock star. He's got such a larger-than-life personality. He's got so much of love and admiration that to be the protagonist to his antagonist is not everybody's cup of tea. Thankfully, you know, I was backed with a great script, great characters in Shamshera and Balli, a great star cast, a great technical crew. And the script, the story was really amazing. You know, when the first time I heard the script, the feeling I got of this larger-than-life adventure, roller coaster, action bonanza. Now when I see the film, it's 10 times that. You know, so touch wood, you know, all stars are aligned, and really excited for the audiences to see it on 22nd July.
Talking about stars being aligned, now that you have two larger-than-life films coming out, do you think the coincidence will also work in your favor?
Well, I hope so. This is the time when I'm really hoping that my stars are aligned. You know, these two films are really big ticket films which I have worked very hard for since the last 4-5 years. It's fortunate or unfortunate that it's coming in, you know, in such a crunch time. But it's fine. You know, I hope that the audiences give it a chance, because they are very different films from each other, and very excited for both of them.
So, you know, we've seen your father, Mr. Sunil Dutt, playing so many, you know, in a dacoit in so many films. How much do you take from his characters, or do you think that any of the films that you, or the characters that you essay, have a little bit of Sunil Dutt in it?
No. I just do my stuff. I don't take anything from Dad or any of his movies. I've never done it. I mean, I went through a very challenging stage in my personal life where, I mean, I had just come back from a drug rehab and सब बोलते थे charsi जा रहा है and all that stuff. So I had to break that. So to do that, I had to be me and not be under the shadow of Mr. Sunil Dutt ji. So it was like that.
You've done Agnipath with Karan and now Shamshera. Do you think Karan is really doling out really good author-back roles and characters for you?
See, Karan is one of the last few directors left with us in our industry who yet holds a lot of passion for his work, for his script, for his actors. He loves his actors. He loves his script. He makes films for the masses. He makes larger-than-life heroes. He makes... The heroine is just not dancing in one song and running around trees there. I mean, she's got something to do. And it's just that he just loves his film. There's nothing more he loves in his film. And this is what I used to see when I joined in the 80s. You know, and so that's why I'm saying he's one of the last ones left. I can count them today, those kind of directors. But yes, in the South, I mean, they are all like that.
Karan, you know, when the trailer released, while you got a lot of love, there were also a section of, people on social media calling it Thugs of Hindostan 2. How did you react to that?
Honestly, I have to take it in the right spirit because our work is meant for public reaction. And there is no point trying to shy away from any reactions you get. You have to respect them in the way they come to you. But my only request to all the people who would want to make any kind of comparisons is, kind of watch the film and judge it on its own merit. Don't try to compare it to any film for that matter. Because I think Shamshera is a very new kind of animal. It's a very new experience for us in Goas. And I'm hoping it's taken in the right spirit and not kind of struggles with any kind of comparisons for any film for that matter.
Well, so, talking about your films as well, you've done KGF, you've done Desi Boys, you've done an array of films where whether the film works or not, your character definitely stands out. Do you think it's important to stay relevant and with the times in this day and age, catering to what the audiences want to see?
No, absolutely. I mean, for at least a person like me, I mean, I've reached an age where I have to yet move with the audience of today, with the young boys, with the young generation, cater to them and everything. But if you stand and if you sit and waste months, if you've given a flop and start sitting and brooding about that for 2-3 months, I mean, don't forget you're losing 2-3 months. I mean, everybody has flops and everybody will give hits. So if you've given a flop, move on, I feel. That's what I've done.
Well, we loved you in Tulsi Das Jr. as well. I thought that was such a beautiful character to play on screen. I mean, that's something that we've never seen before.
I know, and that I'll never forgive Mr. Gwarikar and T-Series for them to release it on OTT. They should have waited and seen it on big screen.
Absolutely. It would have been really nice.
I know.
Yes. Vaani, you've been, working with actors who are actually powerhouses of talent. You yourself are, but, be a Ranbir, Ayushmann, all of them. Is it difficult to hold your own, or do you think that is the challenging and the most fun part of it?
That is the most fun part of it. I mean, I don't think acting is in isolation. You're only better when you have someone who you're always exchanging energy and it's always interactive acting. You're not doing all your scenes in isolation. There has to be an action and a reaction to it. Your acting and your performance only gets better when your co-actors at the same page, on the same page, at the same level, or perhaps better. I'm only silently learning and observing because there's a certain amount of experience that they come with. There are certain things that I perhaps might not have envisaged them doing, and they've come and completely done it in a very different way, and that gives me a chance to improvise and do something else. So there's always something new that you're building and learning on set, because that's the best kind of learning one could ever ask for. I've never been to a film school. This is my learning ground, and so far I have to say I've been lucky enough. I've been very fortunate to have worked with the finest of them all to better my craft.
Well, Ranbir, recently I was reading a biography on Raj Kapoor written by Rahul Ravel, and it was so insightful to
Absolutely,
see
a great
his,
book, yeah.
The method to the madness, literally. Yeah. Do you, like Raj Kapoor, have any method? Do you take off, or do you sit with your director for hours planning a shot?
Yeah, I think every actor eventually finds their own method. It's not intellectual as such, it's just what makes the work easy. I always say this, my method is very basic. It's really getting to know the director, the writer, what he's written, what's the meaning behind the script or the words. And then you go along the way, you just have to be present, you have to be convinced, you have to be alive, you have to work very hard. You have to somewhere surrender yourself to the entire experience. And apart from that, there are a lot of intellectual things a lot of actors do, which gets them closer to the character. But that's all stupid. We are not saving the world. We are just acting. It's entertainment. Usually method actors take themselves too seriously. And making a movie is not about you. It's about the movie. So just be a part. Just be a small piece required to make the larger piece, which is the film. I think that's the most important.
Well, sir, back in the 90s, we saw a lot of two-hero films, be it Khalnayak, or we saw Ram Lakhan, or, so many films in the 90s. You have acted with Ajay Devgan, Salman Khan at par. What do you think is keeping the current lot of actors away from sharing screen with someone who is their colleague?
I don't know what's happened nowadays, but I think it's insecurity between them for some reason. I'm talking about me. You just named all these movies. Those were amazing movies where we supported each other, actually. And we played our parts and we learned. And I worked with Dilip Saab also in a couple of movies. A veteran man like that, you can't even say anything if he changes something, But we learned out of just looking at him, where he took his pauses or what he did and how he looked, even as Amit ji. So it's a learning process. Even till today I'm learning, I learn. Even when I look at him, I learn. I look at her, and I observe. That's the thing, I observe.
What do you think is different about the actors today?
Method wala, I don't know anything, but like Ranbir, he's really spontaneous. He's right there. He masti karega, फिर short में एकदम हो जाएगा. He'll switch on. Vaani, I felt was like that, but then she's saying she's a method.
I'm not saying I've done no method as such. I just the only thing I do is I just put headphones on and just listen to music just to be in my own zone. But
I never saw when we shot that little bit. Kahan headphones? You were talking to us.
He talks funny things in the middle of my zone. I think I start getting distracted. But you never did that, so I never had my headphones on with you.
But yeah, there are actors here who scene win pehle, 10 दिन पहले scene पढ़ के that kind of thing. Yeah.
Ranbir, the last time I met you was during Jagga Jasoos. At that time, you had told me, what is harder than making a film is to promote it. And now I'm sure everyone is asking you about your wedding and your, your new role of fatherhood. How difficult is it? Is everyone getting tired of it?
Any question tires you. I think one question which has been tiring me the most since the last 8 years is when you're coming on social media. I've myself tried to come up with new answers and new reasons because I've started sounding really stupid and repetitive.
But you are on social media.
Yeah, but not officially in a way that, people can follow me and stuff. But it's fine, it's the nature of the job. We made a film that we worked really hard on. So promotions, how much ever I may crib about it, it is a very important aspect of an actor, to go out there and showcase his film. So I enjoy it, right now we are in fun company with Vaani, Sanjay Dutt, Karan. I'm always pulling Karan for interviews because I always believe that nobody knows the film better than the director. And Karan's a great talker. When Karan talks, he talks with so much of conviction because that's the human being he is. And he really puts in that energy in the promotions. So I think it's something which I can't lead, in promotions. I'm a little bit of an introvert. To really be out there and market is something which is very hard for me. I know Sanju sir also is not a big fan of promotions, but it's the nature of the job, so we have to do it.
And you all are smiling.
Yes.
So what more can we ask for?
Yes.
But I have to ask you this.
You don't have to.
Unfortunately, but Alia went on a chat show last week and she opened up about your proposal and how wonderful you were and how you planned everything so meticulously. How difficult or challenging was it to keep it a secret from her?
It wasn't difficult. You just don't tell anybody. But I think it was a beautiful moment. It just happened very naturally and organically.
And even your wedding pictures, the one picture that really stood out was the one where you were holding your father's photograph.
Yes.
Did you ever discuss your wedding with him?
All the time. He was after me, and especially when he was not well. We spent a lot of time with him in New York in the hospital, Alia and myself. And he kept telling us, why are you all wasting your time? You guys have no work. go and get married. You know, why are you sitting in the hospital? So he always used to joke around. But yeah, of course, it would have been amazing if he was alive. But of course, he's blessing us from up there.
And you have a film with Alia also coming up. What is the toughest and the easiest part about your co-star being your lady love?
No, Alia is such a fantastic actor. You know, she is right up there and, you know, amongst the best. And just to kind of match up to her energy, I think she's a team player also. You know, it's all about the movie. It's all about doing your best that you can to make the movie better. And I think a lot of actors, you know, believe that. You know, if you believe that, you will be successful because you're not selfish. You're not thinking about yourself. And to work with the best, like Vaani said, it just betters your craft. It betters you. It makes you alert. So just, it was amazing to work with her.
Right, absolutely. And have you been talking about your new upcoming role with...
With her a lot, but I will not talk to you.
With Mr. Dutt?
Yes, of course. The first time I got to know, I told him, and he was so excited. He gave me so much of love and so much of blessings. You know, I mean, these are the big moments in my life, and he's definitely one person in my life that I have to share all the big news with.
Well, it was wonderful talking to you, all of you, and all the best for Shamshera.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.